A full bright sound will come from the people placed as hidden ones. They will have the mark of the seal as mine. These bright sounds will suddenly jump upwards, then come down from higher to lower, refreshed and strong in the time of the 7th month. They will walk and remain in their position as a military man to measure the gates. By the law of the Shamayim, a suddenly comes, not gradually, but all at once. The messengers will be gathered as the first fruits, the bow and the sword, where they have been given the sovereign authority of king, queen, and priests of the Shamayim. They will be activated and authorized to deliver in drops the word and voice after tearing through the veil with force as new white flames. These are the chaste ones brought into the chuppah by the one who comes like a thief in the night. These are the pure and innocent that will be direct, forthright, and straight as they deliver the mercy judgment message as the sent ones. Their performance will not be upstaged by the stench of the lows. For in an instant, these firstborn ones will swell up and spring forward as a shield that covers as a mist, and the Creator will say, "These are mine." As mine from the beginning, these harbingers signal the approach. The forerunners will suddenly come up as the first fruit blossoms of my tree. Randomly, they will go for a short time, then will be allowed the access and the passage of the 12 names that have been divided, the ones worthy of admiration. They will leave in an instant, which will be a rapid departure with a psst, separated to view as witnesses, as the jury in a law of court. The favored ones will be surrounded as a hedge, breaking them free from confinement of control, for in a short time there will be a suddenly that will cause surprise. My fragrant decorative pears that have blossomed through the haze of the broad road are the first buds who will enter the gap and given the favor of the fruit that belongs to the tree of the rose family. This is a preliminary introduction to the one in charge of the train's progressional proceedings. This will be a formal declaration, and for the first time, physically changing, progressing to the maturity of the 4 divisions for the purpose of dealing with the southbound children of fornication by the piercing of the rod that is used by the conductor. Grand Flower will say, "These are as mine." As mine, even the least of the early blooming family will be as mine, as vines belonging to the olive family. The many hidden ones will come in an unusual and surprising way, from and for a specified position. In a short time, there will be a fall from higher to lower after the winter chill. There will be a force of energy as an attribute of physical action of movement. This shall come as a bright sound. From winter solstice to the equinox of Passover, a few more spies respond by hitting the mark as the days have been lengthened. The fruit of the tree of the rose family that have been cunning and skillful, the bright sound will activate the 12 that have been divided. A very unusual and unexpected event that intensifies feelings, especially of anger and fear, moves to and fro with a swaying and undulating motion as a wave. The small dark red stone is the fruit of the pit that will cause the climbing up and out, establishing the selfish that resemble a wise star but are not. However, year after year, the rose-skinned, as mine, have been watching and waiting for these first days of the last days of winter. For this is when a sudden air-like fluid fills their space in the evening. This will allow for the crossing. It will have the pleasant scent of the one. You are a people set apart from the animals. Like spies, you watch and listen to the production put on by the ones that have been drawn to the lesser light. There is a present act of cross-fertilization with many of the pure white in this period of darkness, which has caused a stench in the Father's prime seed-bearing. By this act, the dark strive to gain control by defeating and establishing superiority over others. For you, as the greater light, make a sweet, brilliantly colored family. Many are elaborate in structure and have been marked as valuable. The lesser lights attract as a bright shining light, but are very much in the dark. Purity within is the more excellent way. This is the path through the passage of time that enables you to withstand great force and pressure. It is the fragrance that allows one to be converted. This is the dew that will excite the senses which fulfill desires. The meeting of the glistening for the gathering of what is due. The irony of the dry desert is that this is where the first buds bloom, so it may ascend, while it's still winter. The few, the faithful, will morph as a butterfly to be covered. The world has been a cold, dark, wet place while in lesser form, but they are effectively butterflies working while it is still dark. The first fruits will be the glorious expression of a pure and innocent virgin bride. The yearning of these will explode with the scent that will speak as mine from their new dwelling. Be careful not to betray yourself as spies by showing or having feelings that are vague, regretful, and have longing, as those brought in as aliens still finding its way in a foreign world, for you have been established. Most of you have been growing up as living scrolls for the purpose of being bonded together. As you are from a foreign place, covered with trees, you have encircled as a member of the olive family the tribe's route. From a starting point to a destination, from Arabia, through Caucasus Mountains and the Ural Mountains, to the place derived from the Persian flower. As mine, you are complex hybrids in close relationship with almost identical spies that are familiar in the disciplines of self-restraint. These spies are all around the world. The official whole one has interdependent parts that are commonly known as mine. This is a variant of the grand flower. This is the heart of the fragrant exchange. The scent rising off each of the petals of grand flower are intoxicating, for they are not betrayed by a lack of original thought, for they, you, are highly focused and are an extreme force as the scent. For the ones who tend and cultivate the garden, you, will be the first lifted up with an explosive sound made by the sudden forcing of breath. This will be a wonder expressing the relationship between a part and a whole for the purpose of showing enjoyment in His. These fragrant ones will be suspended in air through the time of the dark presence surrounding the earth, for the purpose that this time would achieve the desired result activated by the dark speaking ones. Decoding as the scent Spies, you become the harmonious workings as parts of an interconnecting network that is meant to be sung so you can draw and attract those that are drawn to the lesser light. More and more, those who study will have the expert knowledge of the large accounts of the imaginary and of the events told for entertainment relating to the relation of living organisms and of your physical surroundings. You are from abroad and are of the fabric of floral design, of the fragrant one. As hidden ones, you are to convey in thought, feeling, and words the how and when, so the new can comprehend. Uncertainty is how they rule this period of time, with differences that are basically the same, compounding with obnoxious seductive scent. This is how they steer their seed, so in a way it seeds another. Awake, vigilant ones. Study life as a teacher of the highest rank of the school of the Shamayim, for you are a pioneer, one who is among the first to explore this. You are the ones who discover the world as the sent ones. You are an extension, a part that has been purified and prepared as mine. You are as one. You are important, for you are the famous bearers. I say again, quoted precisely, as one, you are very important hidden ones in the land, no longer cramped or confined, for you are as mine. You are found as unique shining ones. You are of the lineage of Leo. You are fruit of the tree of origin, one of many of the weighty to be raised to a higher position as you have been sent from the garden. What one does depends on where you find yourself as a spy, in what embodiment or manifestation. In some cases, you may attract ones that are similar, and in other cases, you may repel the predators, and you may even act as an alarm signal for the entire underground network. When used as a house of war, you can stop the shadowy dark underground when it comes forth. It's time for the honoring of the scent, according to the makeup and content as a scroll, as mine. You are found as the women and men of the Bet Vav, the nines to be revealed and gathered by the thousands, producing the measure of weight that caused the scrolls to roar as mine, pure and absolute. As a result, many as mine will be activated as the scented ones comprising of purity and innocence, prepared to represent. Once you have been examined, evaluated, and appraised, you will then be sent as a small representation as mine, as Adam refined planted ones with an inner lining. It might seem less than normal at first, but surrender to the makeup of your storyboard, for the result will produce the whole, holy, the completed, so you are able to perceive and discern who is human woman, and who is not human woman, for this will be innate within you. Do not cease as the scent from the building process, for it is the provision of your family's lineage. For those who are imparted with a pleasant scent as the hidden ones, rather than those who are tainted, the hidden ones as mine are of the vine, which is a far more satisfying experience than the casual walk of superficiality. Moreover, the rewards keep coming. The rose family, in many instances, have had the frequency bred out of them by the assistance of the owner of the land, who selects those vessels of light which have separated themselves from source and from whence they reflected. For those who do not doubt the genuineness of truth, as mine, you shall never fall afoul to the breeders who seek to magnify and embellish themselves as the standard measure against what is as mine. This is an intentional breach, the ultimate act of pride and selfishness at the expense of another. It comes to us again by the breeding of specimens in much the same form as it was in its origin. Study in the virtues of quality traits that are deemed to be morally good and thus are valued as foundational principles of good moral being. For these are the characteristics that should be cherished, for they are beneficial in promoting collective and individual greatness. Be not trees that bloom briefly or in a way that is not securely in position, for they are likely to fall or collapse. The clinging to practices, customs, and patterns as mine give the opportunity to bloom continually, allowing you to break out, arising, and breaking through to the high point before the winter chill. By May, the waves of blooming fruit will decrease as the scent, as mine, have arrived. For those who love, you are lifted up in flight. As mine, you will be favored and blessed. And for those who loiter and procrastinate, they, you, will rapidly move toward a violent disturbance of the peace as a crowd on a rampage. This will be a haven for the flightless, a place filled with undesirable people, a breeding ground that will spring forth, bringing a decline and a downturn. The final closing years, the last years, provides the grounds for the lesser lights to show up and impregnate what is mine, so they would produce and bear a fruit of an opposite side, a crown to be worn as a counterfeit authority by the adversary. This will be done at a great distance apart from mine, who will form the ornamental headdress that is made up and decorated with the precious metals and jewels and worn as the symbol of true authority by the Most High. It is for this reason that the early ones rise, for you are of mine, producing an attractive fruit. You may not reproduce aggressively, but what you do produce is a standard of quality and excellence. There will be some that are in flight that scatter the fruit seed with great enthusiasm and eagerness in this new land with zeal. These exquisite ones in flight are the currency of my land. There will be no escaping them. As you, they, are in close relation as mine, you and they are the hidden ones of the scent, where they are not found wanting. These are the flowering spies, who are the mature of the rose family. These ones in flight will joyfully make a home in the vine. They do not scatter the fruit seed, where it does not take root. This suggests reproduction problems brought on by the immature and their way of seeding. To investigate why some things happen and others do not is the best part of tending one's life. You will no longer need as mine for historic reasons, or as a history lesson, for all that it has done is cover the bad smells of open sewers of the unclean. However, there are many other ways we and you need grand flower, now more than ever. First and foremost, for the romance and intimacy, but also to pierce our infernal sophistication that seduces. Grand flower draws us back into a state where we have the ability to wonder at the pulses of the natural world around us, so that we would be awakened and aroused and not threatened by a profound suddenly that unfolds in the dark of our own backyard. To the set-apart ones that agree with and are bent toward common, this is concerning. For the set-apart that use the language of ancient Rome and its empire as mine, this is an ancient identity and the indisputable truth of the lie of this being and who and what it is. As mine, and it is as mine, if used in a way to describe the set apart to be common, then these are unrelated and not of family, but do have a familiar scent. In other times or periods, these familiar ones might sell themselves under many names. This is a guide so as to inspect all the confused, tangled terminologies of the counterfeit language and their ways. As mine from the beginning, at the foundation, my olive family, the Leo family ranks above all other orders of the family. Below them are 200 species of the vine. Most of them are pleasant and are of good family. The fine vined are of an elegant three-part purpose. As the first buds, they are blown through the air and dropped as the fragrant white blossoms carrying the 3 parts of my family. The purposes are presented as my officials, my complex prime seed-bearing pleasing ones, bearing a variety of colors, and my grand flower petals. These are tall standing giants that will produce in the season of the downturn by natural processes generated by the source. They will be gathered as the fruit without a stone. My officials, my poets, will cover this time with fire and will trim and prepare what remains so they can endure these extreme current conditions. These early bloomers, as mine, the ones that blush as mine, have been bought and purchased as a family of sent ones that are independent from the children of fornication. The grand flower petals will display more as they are brightly colored, 6-winged seraphim that surround. As mine, you will dance and be made wide and broad because of your origin. You are the shiny, gleaming, lustrous, bright and brilliant, always in season, as a conspicuous people with a distinctive face, as mine. It actually comes from within you and is how you show reverence and adoration as the petals to grand flower. This will be contradictory to your dry and arid surroundings and the prevailing trend of public opinion. It is best to enjoy in being very hot for the Kodesh covenant as it nurtures your vessel.